ATP tutoring. Today we are going to talk about theorem of Pythagoras. Now let's check how it is written in the ATP, or how they want you to expect the questions to be structured. Firstly, let's check here. It says theorem Pythagoras, develop and use the theorem Pythagoras. Now, type 1 of a question says, investigate the relationship between the lengths of the sides of a right-angled triangle to develop the theorem of Pythagoras. Meaning you are going to get questions. Type of questions whereby they have given you a triangle, you are given dimensions, and they want you to determine whether the triangle is a right-angled triangle or not. How are you going to prove it? You're going to prove it via theorem of Pythagoras. And then, okay, no, that one, the one actually I was talking about is this one. Determine whether a triangle is a right-angled triangle or not if the length of the three sides is known. Okay, so this one it says investigate the relationship, meaning you are going to use a theorem Pythagoras to investigate the relationship between the lengths of the sides of a right-angled triangle to develop the theorem Pythagoras. And then this one, because I started with, let us come to this one. Use the theorem Pythagoras to calculate the missing length in a right-angled triangle, leaving irrational answers in set form. Set form, what is the meaning of set form? The meaning of set form is just you leave the answer in a square root. For an example, it may say square root of 15. You leave it like that in a set form. So this one actually says investigate the relationship. That means you are going to check whether the sum of the other two angles, yes, you need to get into that, but then you will get to see how this thing is done if ever we can move here. Now here, theorem Pythagoras says in any right-angled triangle, the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares on the other two sides. So now we have a triangle here. We have the side A, the side B, and the other side C. So this is actually how it's written. This side, normally we call this long side. This long side, we call it hypotenuse. Hypotenuse, because it's the longest side. And then check here. Here's the formula. We say c squared equals a squared plus b squared, where a and b are the lengths of the leg, the sides that meet at the right angle, meaning this and this one. C is the length of the hypotenuse, the side opposite the right angle. So hear me out on this one. Please hear me out. In other books, they use different alphabets. It doesn't mean that these alphabets will always be like this. In other books, they can also, oh, sorry, they can also use what's that one? R squared, R squared equals x squared plus y squared. They can also use that, because actually that's the one which is normally being used here. So it can also be r here and x here and then y here. But then let's check. Now that they are coming here, we are also trying to show you that you can also calculate this, not this. You are not always to be asked to calculate C. Sometimes you are given C and B, you need to calculate A. Sometimes you are given C and A, you need to calculate B. That is the relationship that we are talking about. That bullet number 1 you saw on the ATP, it actually talks about this one. Now, this is how the formula should be. Remember, a squared plus b squared, they give you c squared. So right now, let's talk. Let's say you have coin, okay? You have 2 coins, you have 2 rand and 1 rand. They give you 3 rands. So this time you have got 3 rands and 2 rand. How are you going to determine the other coin? That means you're going to just say 3 rand multiply by the 2 rand, and then you get the 1 rand that is left. Actually, I'm trying to talk about money so that you get to understand this thing. Remember, a squared plus b squared, when they add up together, they give you c squared. So now that the c squared you have it, and you need to solve for a, that means you're going to say c squared subtract the b so that it can give you the a. Practical example, 3 plus 2 equals 5. And then 5 minus 3 equals 2. 5 minus 2 equals 3. I hope you understand. Let us get to an example 1. Here it says find the value of x. Find the value of x. Look at it. It's a right angle triangle. At this side you have we have 4 centimeter for the side AB. For the side BC we have 3 centimeter 4, and then we are solving for AC, which is the x. So we are saying find the value of x. Okay, how are you going to find it? You are going to remember, you are going to take this one, you say AC squared equals BC squared plus AB squared, or the same as x squared equals 3 squared plus 4 squared. This is how it has to be. Check here. AC squared, the longest one, plus BC squared plus AB squared, and then we make the substitutions. Check the substitutions. BC 3, AB 4. And then remember, this is a squared, so the centimeters will also be squared. So it's 3 squared and centimeter squared. 3 squared is 9, centimeter squared remains centimeter squared. 4 squared is 16, centimeter squared becomes centimeter squared. So now these are like terms because they have both units of centimeter squared, or variables of centimeter squared. That is why we are going to add 9 plus the 16. It gives us 25 centimeter squared, and then we square both sides. We have, okay, for this method we're going to we're going to remove this square number using a square root, and then you put square root this side, square root this side. And remember, if a square root is put on a square, it cancels that square. That is why there is no longer squared here, but then we have this one. And or we can use this laws of exponents, whereby we can put this in exponential forms, and then these two will cancel the other twos on the right hand side, and then we end up having 5 centimeters. We move. We're going to second example. Second example says find the length of the base of the right angle triangle if its hypotenuse is 13 meter and the other side is 5 meter. So in this case, please draw the triangle first. Draw the triangle first. Label what you are given. Label it. And then the side which you don't have, put it X or Y. Then that's when you can be able to know which side you are solving. So right now, if you can check, you have you have this longest side, which is 13, and then the one of the legs is 5, and the other one is unknown. That means the first thing you're going to do, you're going to do it the way, how can I put it? You need to substitute. Okay, remember, you have this one and you have this one. So right now, that means you are going to take this one and move it to the other side of the equal sign. That is why it is negative. Or we can take it the way we learned about it here. Remember here. Now we don't have C. We were given maybe we are solving for A. Yes, let's say we have C, sorry, we don't have A. Okay, so that this is how it has to be. That is why it is the way it is calculated here, the subtraction, because we are finding one of the legs. And then here we solve it, going further, and then here the final answer is 12 meters. Okay, let me close it here. I will go further with example 3 and 4 examples. Yes, so please, so far, please indicate what you don't understand, or yeah, the challenges that you find or the confusions. Please talk to me.